Have you ever found yourself in a discussion where, despite saying everything you needed to, you walked away feeling like you lost? That knot in your throat, as if every word spoken pushed you further from your own strength. Perhaps you're surrounded by people who speak loudly, interrupt, mock, and dominate with arrogance disguised as confidence. And maybe you believed that staying silent was weakness, that not defending yourself was surrendering. But what if I told you this is an illusion? What if true power has never been in words, but in their absence? Nietzsche, one of history's most misunderstood thinkers, saw something few have the courage to admit. Those who talk too much reveal too much. Those who need to convince are already at a disadvantage. The world teaches us we must fight, explain ourselves, defend our ideas as if every conversation were a battle for truth. But nature proposes something different, a more subtle, more lethal, and infinitely more intelligent path. He believed that silence is not just an absence of noise, it is an overwhelming presence. Silence disconcerts. It destabilizes. It forces the other to confront themselves. This video is for you who constantly feels ignored, overshadowed, invalidated. For you who leaves conversations feeling no one really heard what you meant to say. For you who is tired of being the easy target, the nice one, the one who tries to keep peace while others take advantage of your calm. Perhaps you have confused your silence with submission. But today I will show you that silence can be your most powerful weapon. That true victory does not come from winning an argument, but from never needing to enter one. Get ready to see silence in a new light, not as an absence of response, but as the definitive response. Let's dive into nature's ideas and discover how to master any situation without saying a single word. Why do we feel such a need to respond, to rebut, to correct, to prove we are right? Because we've been conditioned to believe truth must be defended tooth and nail. That if we remain silent, we allow others to win. But nature saw this as a symptom of our deepest weakness, the fear of appearing weak. Behind this fear lies the ego, fragile, unable to stand being questioned, turning every conversation into a battlefield. Most people do not seek truth when they argue. They seek power. They seek to reaffirm their beliefs, not because they're solid, but because if shaken, everything crumbles. Why do we dive into debates, convinced our words will triumph, only to emerge drained and defeated? It's the illusion of the debate and the ego a trap where we mistake verbal fireworks for true power. Picture this. You're in a heated argument, heart pounding, unleashing every point you've rehearsed. You feel victorious in the moment, but deep down, that nagging doubt lingers. Did you really win, or just feed the chaos? Nietzsche pierced this veil, exposing how the ego craves validation through combat. We've been conditioned to believe silence signals defeat, that defending our truth tooth and nail proves strength. But what if every furious rebuttal reveals your fragility? The ego, that fragile tyrant, turns conversations into battlefields not for truth, but for dominance. People don't argue to seek wisdom. They argue to affirm their crumbling beliefs. Emotional investment blinds us the more we care, the more we overestimate our argument strength, as studies on the illusion of argument justification confirm. You think your words are ironclad, but outsiders see the cracks. Nietzsche called this herd morality, the desperate need for approval, where justifying yourself means you've already lost. True power? It's not in winning the shouting match, but in standing unshaken amid the storm. Enter the reactive mind, the ego's puppet. It screams to respond, correct, conquer, fearing silence as weakness. But Nietzsche saw deeper. Argumentation is defensive armor for the insecure, a cry to control the narrative. When you feel compelled to explain, you've entered their game, trapped in the desire for acceptance. The world glorifies the loud interrupters, the arrogant dominators masked as confident. Yet nature whispers a lethal truth. Those who talk excessively reveal too much. Conviction needs no proof. Overconfidence biases like illusory superiority make us overestimate our grasp. turning debates into ego traps. Nietzsche proposed internal mastery, hold your vision against mockery, remain calm as others unravel. The observing mind, detached and dangerous, transcends the need to prove. Debates are theater. The first to react loses. Behind it all lurks the fear of appearing weak, the ego's core wound, confusing disagreement with attack. Break free. True victory is never needing to fight. In the next section, discover how the Ubermensch wields this silence as dominance. Your ego's illusion ends here. Embrace the power beyond words. Enter the Ubermensch, Nietzsche's ultimate vision of human potential, a being who transcends slave morality and wields silence as raw dominance. No longer enslaved by the need to react or justify, the Ubermensch observes the chaos of the herd with unyielding calm. Picture this. In a storm of shouts and accusations, everyone scrambles to fill the void with desperate words, revealing their fears, their cracks. But the Ubermensch? He stands unmoved, his silence a fortress. It doesn't plead or defend, it commands. Those around him falter, their voices cracking under the weight of his presence. Why? Because true power isn't in volume, it's in the void you create, forcing others to confront their own fragility. Nietzsche didn't craft the Ubermensch for the masses, but for the rare soul who forges values from within, affirming life in its entirety, joys, pains, all of it. This Overman rejects external validation, sculpting his reality without apology. Silence becomes his throne, not passive, but a deliberate blade that slices through illusions. He shapes the world in his image, his gaze alone toppling egos. You felt the discomfort when someone refuses to engage your bait. That's the Ubermensch's domain. He embodies self-mastery, where every unspoken moment asserts, I am beyond your game. No more herd whispers pulling your strings. Embrace this, and conversations shift. You become the center, the enigma they can't ignore. Now, imagine wielding this in your life. The Ubermensch's silence isn't retreat, it's conquest. He overcomes his human, all too human drives, unifying them into ecstatic strength. Nietzsche warned, most live as reactors, trapped in ego battles. But the Overman? He creates meaning amid nihilism, post-God. His quietude destabilizes manipulators. They probe, provoke, but meet only a mirror reflecting their chaos. Panic sets and they overextend, expose weaknesses. You, as Ubermensch, listen like a predator, noting every tremor in their voice. Time stretches in your pause, building tension until they crumble. This is dominance without a word. Pure, life-affirming will to power. No slave morality of guilt or conformity. Forge your values. Stand unshaken amid criticism. Laughter? Rejection? Mere echoes against your resolve. In boardrooms, arguments, relationships, deploy this silence and watch power invert. You're no longer playing, you're the game. Nietzsche's call, overcome yourself. Become the Overman who says yes to existence, ruling through poised absence. This is Section 3, Silence as Ubermensch Dominion. Next, we sharpen it into tactical precision. Now let's uncover the raw psychology behind silence, why it shatters the other person's composure like an invisible force. Imagine you're in a heated argument. They hurl words at you, expecting your counterattack, your defense, your emotional outburst. But you stay silent. Nothing. Your gaze steady, unblinking. In that void, their brain ignites. Social psychology reveals silence triggers the amygdala, the fear center, flooding them with cortisol. They project insecurities. Is he judging me? Does she see through my bluff? Without your reaction, they lose narrative control, spiraling into self-doubt. 3. Nietzsche sensed this. Silence isn't empty. It's a mirror reflecting their chaos back at them. They fill the gap, revealing weaknesses, contradictions, fears masked as arrogance. You flip the script. Their aggression becomes desperation. Your calm, an unspoken verdict of superiority. This destabilization is profound. Research shows silence signals confidence and authority, making the talker feel exposed, insecure. Manipulators crumble, they thrive on your reactions to validate their power. Deny it, and they panic, over-explaining, betraying vulnerabilities. Silence activates unresolved traumas. Rejection, abandonment. Suddenly, they're not center stage. Their words echo unanswered. For the narcissistic ego, intolerable. You're not defending, you're attacking their core illusion. But wield it actively. Observe like a predator. Let pauses build unbearable tension. They assume, fear, falter. Unpredictability terrifies. You become the gravitational center. Nietzsche's Ubermensch embodies this transcending reaction, dominating through presence. In a noisy world, your silence screams power. Master this, and conversations bend to you. No need for volume. Your quiet unnerves, unmasks, conquers. But remember, true silence demands inner strength, resisting the urge to justify, to react. It's not passivity, it's strategic supremacy. Next, we'll forge it into weapons for real-world dominance. Now, enter the arsenal of silence. Practical weapons forged from Nietzsche's unyielding wisdom. These aren't mere pauses, they're blades, sharpened by restraint, designed to carve dominance without a whisper. First weapon, the mirror of composure. When attacked, don't counter with words. Hold your gaze steady, lips sealed, letting their fury echo back. They expect rage, your calm shatters them. Watch their confidence fracture as silence forces self-confrontation. In heated meetings or family clashes, this mirror reflects their chaos, exposing insecurities they buried deep. Nietzsche knew, the loud reveal themselves, the silent command the field. Second weapon, the void of delay. Never rush to fill the air after their barb lands. Let seconds stretch into eternity. This void amplifies tension, turning their bold strike into desperate flailing. Research confirms that strategic pauses de-escalate, boost retention, make opponents overthink. 4. They probe, justify, unravel while you observe like a predator in shadows. In negotiations or arguments, deploy this. State your point once, then vanish into silence. Their need to respond betrays weakness. Yours signals supremacy. Third weapon, the hunter's ear. While they rant, listen not to reply, but to dissect. Note tremors in voice, fidgeting hands, repeated phrases masking fear. Silence here is reconnaissance. Words would blind you. Nietzsche's Overman observes without reaction, gathering intel for the inevitable strike. Use in interviews, conflicts, or betrayals. Absorb, catalog vulnerabilities, then wield one precise phrase later or none at all. Studies show this builds authority, fosters trust. 5. Master these, and conversations bend to your will. The talker loses ground. The silent sovereign rises. But beware, wield with intent, not fear. True power? It's the silence that doesn't just defend, it conquers. Practice now. Next provocation, deploy one. Feel the shift as they crumble under your unspoken command. Is your silence a shield of strength or a chain of submission? Nietzsche exposed a trap. What we call peace is often slave morality in disguise, the morality of the weak, born from resentment, where humility masks impotence and kindness hides surrender. You've been conditioned to believe staying quiet, avoiding conflict, and prioritizing harmony make you virtuous. But Nietzsche saw through it. This is the herd's code, elevating sympathy, patience, and self-denial as supreme goods while demonizing power, pride, and independence as evil. 3. Think about it. Every time you swallow your anger to keep the peace, you let others encroach on your space, impose their will, and treat your calm as weakness to exploit. They dominate conversations, steal opportunities, and you nod along, convincing yourself it's maturity. But deep down, resentment festers, a quiet bitterness that poisons your spirit. 4. Slave morality thrives on this inversion. The strong are recast as villains, their vitality as cruelty, so the weak can feel morally superior without lifting a finger. 5. Nietzsche called it a revenge fantasy. The slaves can't compete in strength, so they redefine goodness as their own mediocrity, guilting the powerful into submission too. You're living it. By not reacting, you're not noble, you're domesticated, handing your power to those who shout loudest. This submissive silence isn't wisdom, it's a trap that keeps you small. Nietzsche warned that slave morality corrupts language itself. Good becomes synonymous with stupid and safe, while true nobility is slandered one. You've felt it walking away from arguments, not victorious, but diminished, your voice silenced by the illusion that defending yourself is petty. But the Ubermensch rejects this. He wields silence as master morality, not reactive resentment, but affirmative power, self-mastery beyond good and evil. 3. Break free. Recognize when your quietude serves others' agendas. The next time someone interrupts or dismisses you, pause not in fear, but command. Let your presence unsettle them. True power isn't in volume. It's in refusing the herd's game. You've been a pawn in slave morality's theater long enough. Reclaim silence as your throne. In this trap lies your revolution. Shatter slave morality's grip. Nietzsche didn't preach weakness, he demanded you transcend it. Your silence can evolve from submission to sovereignty. Coming up, how the Ubermensch turns quiet into conquest. The Ubermensch is not a myth or fantasy. He is Nietzsche's blueprint for human transcendence, a being who has shed the chains of conventional morality and stands alone in his power. While the world celebrates the loud, the aggressive, the constantly reactive, the Ubermensch operates from a different frequency entirely. He understands something fundamental that separates him from ordinary humans. True dominance is never announced. It is felt. The Ubermensch does not need to prove himself because he has already transcended the need for external validation. His silence is not weakness masked as wisdom. It is absolute self-mastery. He has conquered the greatest battlefield himself. In a society obsessed with noise, with constant justification, with a desperate need to be heard and understood, the Ubermensch moves differently. He observes. He listens. He chooses his words with surgical precision, knowing that every utterance is either a revelation or a weapon. Most importantly, he knows when to say nothing at all. Becoming the Ubermensch requires you to fundamentally redefine what strength means. It means understanding that your silence can be more destabilizing than any argument. It means recognizing that the person who needs to convince others has already lost the battle. The Ubermensch has killed the herd morality within himself, that voice that whispers you should be nice, agreeable, easy to control. He has rejected the slave morality that teaches you to find virtue in your own diminishment. Instead, he creates his own values. He lives by his own rules. And crucially, he does not apologize for any of it. This transformation is not comfortable. It demands that you stop seeking approval from those around you. It requires you to embrace solitude, to stand firm even when misunderstood, to speak your truth even if no one listens. The Ubermensch knows that his power does not depend on consensus. It depends on his unwavering commitment to becoming who he truly is. This is your moment. You now understand that silence is not absence, it is presence. It is the weapon of those who have mastered themselves. The question is, will you use this knowledge? Will you stop participating in your own submission? Will you become the Ubermensch, or will you remain trapped in the comfortable prison of others' expectations? The choice is yours. But know this, every moment you delay is a moment you surrender to mediocrity. The world does not need more people who talk, explain, justify, and beg for understanding. It needs those rare few who have the courage to stand alone, to be misunderstood, to command respect through their mere presence. That person could be you, but only if you decide that your silence will no longer be a whisper of fear. It will be a roar of authority. We have reached the final point, and now I need you to understand one thing with all the clarity possible. Silence is not absence. It is not emptiness. It is not a space between sentences. True silence is pure presence. It is mastery. It is the sign that you're no longer reacting to the world. You are shaping it with your mere existence. Nietzsche never wrote for those content to survive. He wrote for those who want to transcend, for those willing to tear off the mask society imposed, even if it hurts. The silence of the Ubermensch is not the silence of the oppressed, nor of the coward. It is the silence of the warrior who has already won before the battle begins. It is the stillness of one who no longer needs to prove anything to anyone because he knows who he is and what he deserves. Now look at your life. How many times have you remained silent out of fear, out of guilt, out of not wanting to disturb? How many times have you let others decide for you, speak for you, trample over your truth? Enough. Nietzsche would say living this way is an offense to existence itself. Accepting this kind of silence betrays yourself. From today, your silence must change its tone. Stop being an escape and become an invisible shout of authority, a boundary, an affirmation of who you are, even if no one understands. Because who you are does not need to be understood. It needs to be lived, and that requires courage. Do you have that courage? Then comment below. I choose the silence that commands respect. Not just so I know you made it this far, but so you publicly affirm this choice, this commitment to yourself. Words have power, even when they speak about silence. Don't stop here. The next video expands what you've learned and takes your mind even further. Watch it because you deserve to go beyond. Remember, the weak shout, the strong remain silent, the wise choose when. Choose the silence that reigns. Embrace it, live it, and watch your world transform.